A young woman grips her shoulder on a practice court in London. No cameras were supposed to be rolling for this. No press conference was scheduled, and yet, within hours, the moment was everywhere. Before this video ends, you will understand exactly why a single wince from Eala sent an entire nation into a state of quiet panic, and why what happened next says more about her than any trophy ever could. Here's the thing. To understand why this moment mattered so much, you have to understand who Eala actually is, because for most of the tennis world, she wasn't even on the radar a year ago. Eala was born in Quezon City, Philippines in 1904 to a country with almost no modern tennis infrastructure and even less tennis history at the elite level. Her parents made a decision that, on paper, looked almost reckless. They sent their daughter abroad to Rafael Nadal's academy in Mallorca, Spain, when she was barely a teenager. No guarantees, no safety net, just a bet on a kid with a left-handed swing and an unusual amount of patience for someone her age. Read that again. A family from a country with no real tennis pedigree sent their daughter across the world to chase a dream that almost nobody believed in yet. For years, she grinded through junior tournaments, ITFs, and WTA 125 events, the unglamorous tier of professional tennis where there's no television coverage and barely any prize money. Stay with me, because this backstory matters for what comes later. Every wrap of tape on her shoulder, every gritted teeth comeback traces back to those years of nobody watching. Now let's talk about the numbers, because here's what most casual fans don't know. On June 7, 2026, Eala won her second career WTA 125 title at the Lexus Birmingham Open, coming back from a dropped first set to beat Nicole Bardova 5-7, 6-3, 7-5. That result alone pushed her to world number 33 and gave her a 9-2 grass court record heading into the rest of the season. Then came Queen's Club, where she advanced through the early rounds before being eliminated. Solid, unspectacular, the kind of result nobody writes headlines about. Berlin changed everything. Entering the WTA 500 Berlin Tennis Open as a wild card, with essentially no expectations attached to her name, Eala beat world number 33 Donna Vekic in 3 sets. Then, she beat world number 2 and 2022 Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina 5-7, 6-4, 7-6. Then, she beat world number 8 Elena Svitolina in straight sets to reach the semi-finals, her second top 10 win of the same tournament. 2 top 10 scalps in 1 week as a wild card. That run lifted her from number 35 to number 30 in the world. And when Canada's Victoria Mboko withdrew from Wimbledon with a knee injury, Eala moved up again in the seeding order, becoming the tournament's number 29 seed and making history as the first Filipino player in the Open era to be seeded at a Grand Slam. For context on how rare that is, only the top 32 players in the world earn a seed at a major. It is the difference between a brutal early draw against a top contender and a far gentler path through the first week of a Grand Slam. For a country with almost no tennis tradition, this was seismic. But here's where the story gets complicated, because right alongside the celebration, something else was quietly building. What we know, during her Berlin semi-final loss to Lindonoska, Eala was visibly struggling with discomfort that limited her return game. Photos from the following week at the Bad Homburg Open showed heavy strapping across her shoulder, strapping that only seemed to grow more extensive as the tournament progressed. She lost that match in straight sets to Elise Mertens, 6-3, 6-3, her earliest grass season exit. What we don't know, whether this was a structural injury, simple fatigue from an unusually packed schedule, or standard precautionary taping that professional athletes use constantly. Eala herself, speaking earlier in the season about tape on a different part of her body, had explained it as something closer to athletic maintenance than an emergency measure, more precaution than crisis, in her own words. Commentators had raised a separate, more structural concern for weeks: the schedule itself. Birmingham, Queens, Berlin, and Bad Homburg in succession is an unusually demanding stretch for any player, let alone one new to this level of attention and physical load. Some analysts, including outlets covering her closely, openly questioned whether playing that extra tournament before Wimbledon was a wise decision or an unnecessary risk. Now, a quick tennis breakdown, because this matters tactically, not just emotionally. Eala's game is built around an aggressive left-handed baseline style, heavy on early ball striking, and a slice serve that, on grass specifically, skids low and away from right-handed returners. Former pro Greg Ruzetsky has pointed out that the low, fast bounce of grass actually suits her game better than clay or hard courts because it lets her take the ball earlier and generate pace without needing the long, looping strokes that put more strain on the shoulder over a 5-set rally exchange. That's precisely why a shoulder issue, however minor, is the worst possible injury for her specific style at the worst possible moment. Grass season is when her game is most dangerous, and a compromised shoulder threatens the exact shot patterns that make her dangerous in the first place. Against an opponent like Renata Zarazua in the opening round, that shoulder needs to hold up through extended baseline exchanges and a high first serve count. Against the bigger names, potentially waiting in later rounds, the margin for physical compromise narrows even further. So when reports emerged of a moment during practice at the All England club where Eala stopped mid-drill and grabbed at that same shoulder, the reaction wasn't really about one practice swing. It was about every warning sign that had been stacking up for weeks, finally seeming to catch up with her, just days before her tournament debut as a seed. Within the Filipino tennis community, and it is worth saying, this is a community unlike almost any other in the sport, one where strangers organize their dinners around her match schedule, the reaction was immediate. Messages of support flooded in. Prayer gatherings were organized. The hashtag #LabanAlex, roughly translating to Fight Alex, spread across Filipino social media within hours. Here's the emotional moment that, more than any ranking points, tells you who this athlete actually is. After her semifinal exit in Berlin, a loss, not a win, Eala posted a message on Instagram thanking the city and the fans, saying her heart was full and that she was forever grateful. Not a celebration of victory, a statement of gratitude after a loss, while visibly carrying physical pain. That's not something you coach into a 21-year-old. Either that is who someone is, or it isn't. Now, let's be precise about what is actually confirmed and what remains speculation, because a responsible breakdown of this story has to separate the two. What's confirmed? The heavy shoulder strapping across multiple tournaments, the early exit in Bad Homburg, and her number 29 seeding heading into a first-round matchup against Mexico's Renata Zarazua. What remains unconfirmed at the time of recording is the precise nature and severity of any shoulder issue. There has been no official medical statement detailing a specific diagnosis, and reports of a practice court moment have circulated without a formal confirmation from her team. Until that's clarified, it would be irresponsible to treat speculation as fact. What we can say with certainty is this. The physical toll of 4 grass court tournaments in rapid succession, combined with marquee wins over 2 top 10 players, would tax any 21-year-old's body, seeded or not, ranked or not. So here is the open question this video leaves you with. Will the shoulder hold up under the 5-set physical demands of a Grand Slam draw against opponents who will specifically target her serve and backhand side if there's any hint of weakness? Or will the schedule that built her into a seed at Wimbledon be the same schedule that limits how far she can go once she's there? The story isn't over. Her first-round match against Renata Zarazua is coming, and depending on how her body responds under that pressure, everything about how we read this entire grass court season could change. Do you think Eala made the right call playing 4 straight grass tournaments before her first seeded Grand Slam? Or was that one tournament too many? Tell me below. If you want to be here when that first match drops, subscribe and turn on notifications. This story is just getting started. And let me know in the comments, which Filipino athlete's story should we break down next?